Now, I've been bouncing around, trying to check out as many different teams as possible. Mostly the East Coast teams, just because I'm a toddler and I go to bed. I go to bed at a time where I'm just like not really focused on the West Coast games. But there has been this team that plays on the West Coast that has been performing quite well of late, and it is the Los Angeles Lakers. They are 5-2 in their last 7 games. Should have been 6-1, but they gave up a game-winning three to Indiana when they played Monday night. Literally at the buzzer. They wound up blowing a 17-point lead. Um, yeah, they wound up blowing a 17-point lead. LeBron was like, anytime that something like that happens, like everything goes wrong and everything went well. Everything went wrong for them. But bro, I gotta tell you, man, the Pacers, they are legit. This is a very impressive beginning of the season for them, considering that they don't have a tremendous amount of established talent. We know that Tyrese Halliburton is looking to be like a future all NBA caliber guy. I mean, 24 and 14 last night is literally a walking 20 and 10. Gives me serious he gives me serious Kevin Johnson vibes. For any of you guys who were able to watch Kevin Johnson live in the 90s, I think there are a little bit of similarities between them. Also, a little bit of young John Wall, albeit a better perimeter shooter. And I don't think he's as great on defense, but Prime John Wall was just like he was clamping every point guard. But you got 24 and 14 from Tyrese, 15 and 13 from Miles Turner, 3 blocks. He's fantastic. Buddy Hield did not really play that well, but then you got Benedict Mathurin giving you 23 and 8 off the bench. And this team improved to 12 and 8 of an organization that many folks thought would be near the bottom of the standings contending for Victor Wembanyama, and that simply has not been the case. And I've been able to watch the Pacers on multiple occasions because they've played Brooklyn 3 or 4 times already, and they play hard, they execute well, they run a fantastic half-court offense with, all of it beginning with Tyrese Halliburton. Of course, the reason that they've busted Brooklyn's ass so frequently to begin the year is that they just match up. They match up spectacularly well against Brooklyn. They got a lot of shooters. They got guys who can play big. I mean, Miles Turner is a handful for anyone to deal with, let alone the Brooklyn Nets, who only have one center, who really only have one legit center on the roster, and that being Nick Claxton. But let's get back to the Lakers for a hot second. So you get 23 and 13 and 6 from 8, or 25, 13 and 6 from AD last night, 21 and 7 from LeBron. Did not shoot particularly well. I wonder if he's like still trying to get back into form from his ankle injury. Bro, my fucking mouse is just not working. I said ankle injury. I don't even remember what the fucking injury. I think it was a groin injury, something like that. But, you know, he's had some moments. Of course, the game 2 nights ago when he had 39 and 11, and then the game before that he shot 8 of 17 coming back. But LeBron is LeBron. And he's a demon, right? And he's a freak. He's the freakiest NBA player ever to play. But he's gonna have a little bit of issue coming back and getting fully into rhythm. But of course, you had 24 from Russ off the bench, shot 10 of 18, which has not really been his efficiency has not really been a strong point of this Lakers recent run. Now, I get it. They're playing well as of late, as I already mentioned, 5-2 in their last 7 games, but do not get it twisted. Do not misunderstand the praise that I'm giving them. This is still a dog team. This is a dog shit team as it is currently constructed. They're playing well right now, but they do not have the depth or really that's the biggest thing. They don't have the depth to sustain this for the entirety of the season. But I feel that when teams are playing well, you should give them credit. I mean, to rattle off five five wins in 7 games for a team with this roster is pretty pretty impressive. Now, the the reason why they've been so dominant of late has been Anthony Davis. This dude is averaging 30 and 17. He's averaging, I think, all of the numbers that I took down were before their game on Monday, but it's not really going to change too much. Just know that AD is averaging like 32 and 17 right now on a little more than 60% shooting from the field. He's been getting to the free throw line like 10, 11, 12 times a night, which is fucking incredible. He's also adding about 4.5 combined blocks and steals. He's looked like one of the best players in the league. I don't think it's a hot take to say that. I mean, statistically, his efficiency, the way that he's getting these shots, the variety in which he's taking the shots. And more important than anything else, like he's being aggressive again. I feel like that's been something of an issue with Anthony Davis over the last couple of years is that he I don't know if it's like a psychological effect of playing alongside LeBron James, but especially AD being a younger guy and coming up playing basketball, high school, college, and like seeing LeBron at the peak of his power and knowing that regardless of what the situation was on the team, LeBron was going to be the number one. Now, LeBron has kind of given his crown to AD a little bit, but when they went out and they acquired AD, the Lakers knew that he was going to have to be like he was going to have to be their guy. Like he was going to be the guy who the offense flowed through just because LeBron's been getting older. He has been suffering more and more injuries over the last couple of years, particularly to his lower body, and of course, most notably that groin injury a few years ago. But just seeing, Anthony Davis slowly get back to being aggressive, playing with his back to the basket, not really settling for threes. So far this year, this is the fewest threes that he's attempted per game. He's at just more than 1 3 per game. That is the lowest since he attempted point 0.2 in 2014-15. So naturally, when you're not settling for threes, especially when you're a piss poor shooter like Anthony Davis has been over recent years, you're getting higher quality looks. You're playing to your strength. You're facing up with like 15, 16, 17 feet. You're playing in the pick and roll. You're getting good looks around the basket. And then, of course, naturally, since you are putting more pressure on the defense, you are going to be rewarded with more foul shots. Currently, he's averaging 7.5 free throw attempts per game. That is the most since he averaged 8.5 in 2019-2020. That, of course, being the year the Lakers won the title. I don't necessarily think that is much of a coincidence. So, of course, AD has been absolutely spectacular. He's scoring more than 26 points a game for the season in total, which is incredible. Again, the highest since the Lakers won the title in 2020. You could make the argument that if the Lakers do decide to do something around the trade deadline, this could be like a championship caliber team. Like they could limp into the postseason with a reconstructed roster being only a few games over 500. But like if AD perpetuates this level of basketball, the Lakers are going to be very difficult to deal with, or at least he's going to be very difficult to deal with. I don't really want to say the Lakers because outside of AD, they really haven't gotten much, and that was to be expected. LeBron is doing his thing. Lonnie Walker is actually developing quite well. That's a very pleasant surprise. I remember watching Lonnie when he was at Miami, I think it was, and I was super impressed with his game. I thought that it was going to translate very well to being a professional. He had great size. I mean, if his shot developed, if his just like his overall shooting, his shot IQ, all of which does tend to develop with ball dominant guards. It just takes them a little bit of time. I felt that he had great potential to be a relatively solid defender as well. And to his credit, like he has made marked improvements across the board. He's averaging 16 and a half points a game right now, shooting 48% from the field, 36% from three. He's been fantastic. The big thing is that over this time, Russ has been moved to the bench, and I don't know how much that is impacting the Lakers. Um, the advanced numbers, like the net rating numbers and the plus minus numbers, they do show that when Russ is playing without LeBron, the Lakers do tend to be better than when he is playing with LeBron. And that is, of course, because Russ, his style does not translate well to being on the court at the same time as LeBron. You can't have two ball dominant players, monopolizing the basketball when both of them, more so Russ, is as consistent as he is from the perimeter. Of course, it's, you know, LeBron isn't the most lethal 3-point shooter, but teams aren't letting LeBron shoot the three. Like ever since his time in Miami, he's become a must guard on the 3-point line. Russ is not there. I mean, and he's shooting like 33% overall from the field for this stretch. So have not been too impressed with him, but it must be working because the Lakers are winning. And, Russ is coming off the bench. He's able to facilitate a little bit more. And also, again, playing through Anthony Davis. Like, I think that pairing between them is one that the Lakers can kind of rely on for 4, 5, 6 minute stretches throughout the game. only because Anthony Davis is playing at such a high level, and he's going to make the defense have to guard him. That's going to allow for Russ to get higher percentage looks around the basket if they play in pick and roll. If he starts to find his rhythm from the mid range, that's great. Also, if he becomes more aggressive and starts getting to the free throw line at a little bit more of an improved rate. I don't know what his free throw rate is compared to his career. I'm trying to find that right now. Um, his free throw rate right now is at 29% for his career. It's at 37. And I mean, even last year with the Lakers, 32%. For those of you guys who don't know, your free throw rate is the number of free throw attempts per field goal attempt. So the higher your free throw rate, the more free throws you're getting relative to the amount of field goals that you're getting. But yeah, Russ has always been a guy who gets to the line a lot just because he is a fucking athletic freak and is almost uncontainable when he's going downhill. I mean, even now in his older age, with his lower body explosiveness not being what it was during previous seasons, like he's still a handful to deal with in the half court. It's just also the effort that is put on him defensively is exacerbated because the Lakers do not have that great depth. Like they do not have that great of depth, particularly on the offensive end. One thing that is very, very fascinating with this Lakers team is that for the season as a whole, right? For the season as a whole, they are the 20th ranked defense in scoring in points allowed. They're the 8th ranked defense in defensive rating. Over this stretch, they have improved to be 4th best in efficiency. At least that's what it was before the Pacers game on Monday. I can't imagine it falling that I can't imagine it falling that much. And they've excelled at defending the perimeter, which in the Western Conference and in the NBA as a whole now. Pardon me, I'm a little burpy. Just within the Western Conference and within the NBA as a whole, defending the 3-point line has become harder and harder. Like they've played against Phoenix recently, great perimeter players with Devin Booker, great perimeter player with Devin Booker. They played against San Antonio, although San Antonio is not that great of a team. They still got Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson, two guys who are solid perimeter players in their own right. And then, of course, going against Indiana on Monday, which is a fantastic team. Great, great selection of wings and shooters on that front. They're limiting their opponents to 33% shooting from three, which is fantastic. Now, of course, you might think, well, yeah, they got LeBron. LeBron is still a big body on the perimeter. You got Anthony Davis, who is an elite defender, very versatile. You got Patrick Beverley as well, who is one of the premier um, defensive guards in the NBA. Kendrick Nunn, Troy Brown. You got athletes on the perimeter. Okay. But none of these guys have statistically, and I cannot believe I am about to say what the fuck I'm going to say. None of these guys have performed as well on defense as Austin Reaves. Austin Reaves, the least athletic dude on the perimeter that the Lakers have, has been statistically their best defender. Just hear me out on this because I couldn't believe the numbers. I looked at Patrick Beverley's defended field goal percentage, and of course he's doing what he's always been. It's his defended field goal percentage is around the league average, a little bit better than league average on the perimeter, particularly over this recent stretch, which of course, that's why they went out and they got somebody like Patrick Beverley. But I thought Troy Brown would be good. No, he is actually fucking stinky on defense. Same thing with Kendrick Nunn, but I know Kendrick Nunn never had the reputation of being an elite defender anyway. But Austin Reaves, listen to this. Opponents are shooting 36% when guarded by him during this stretch. And of course, this was before the game against Indiana. That includes 27% from three and 57% inside of 6 feet. This is a guy who is 6'4", barely athletic, does not have the same physical traits as some of the other dudes at his position, and he is absolutely clamping. He's absolutely clamping his matchups. When they played Phoenix, according to NBA's tracking data, Devin Booker shot 4 of 13 against Austin Reaves. Now, I looked through all of these shots, or at least all of the ones that the NBA recorded. Booker he was not having his way with Austin Reaves on offense. I will say that much. And to his credit, Austin Reaves did defend Booker very well in isolation. Now, I understand that Book isn't the biggest, he's not the fastest, he's not the most explosive, but this is a dude who's averaging like 28 a night. Like, this is a premier scorer in the league who is a three-level guy who can get his shot from wherever, whenever. Pick and roll, in transition. What really impressed me was how Austin Reaves was able to keep Devin Booker out of the paint. I think there was only one shot inside of 10 feet that Booker got when defended by Austin Reaves. And, just the energy that he brought on defense, the activity. I think Austin Reaves also helps himself because he's not much of a gambler on defense. He's not reaching a lot. He's not going for steals. And I think it's because he knows his limitations. He knows that he is not a premier guard. He does not have the best ball skills. He doesn't even have the best defensive instincts because he's still a young player. Like, I was watching him against Doug McDermott, for example, and there were multiple plays where McDermott, who moves very well without the basketball, just got free on a simple backdoor cut because Reaves wasn't watching his man and the ball. There was one play in particular where it led to a layup. I don't recall if McDermott made it or not, but he was wide open in the paint because Austin Reaves lost his man. Now, um, I do recognize the fact that when you are a player on the perimeter, when you are a guard, when you are a wing, having an elite defensive center really impacts how aggressively you play. You can play more aggressively on the perimeter when you've got Rudy Gobert behind you, when you've got Anthony Davis behind you. You can play more aggressively on the perimeter when you have Brook Lopez behind you. Like, same thing, Draymond Green. Look at any elite defensive team. Bam Adebayo, Robert Williams. Like, when you have elite guys on the back end, you can play more aggressively. And I think that's what is really helping the Lakers here. I think maybe not all of their defensive improvement, but like 75 to 80% of it is Anthony Davis. Because even if Anthony Davis isn't impacting every play, his presence is. Teams still recognize the fact that Anthony Davis is an elite defender, regardless of how healthy he is. Him being on the court is enough to throw off a team's offensive game plan. And I think that's translating quite well with these Lakers. And of course, as I already mentioned, I do not expect this to continue. I do not expect this. I would not expect them to win 5 out of every 7 games for the rest of the season because that's like not even the fucking Milwaukee Bucks are doing that. Like, that's a lot to ask of the Boston Celtics, who are the best team in the NBA right now. I do not foresee that. I do foresee them being fun to watch, though, which I guess is something, especially because you do have LeBron, who is chasing after Kareem's scoring record. But, I mean, I just wanted to give some props to the Lakers and really just, like, talk about this fucking bizarro defensive impact that Austin Reaves is having.